So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. We're going to be having another video of this style like we said yesterday as well. We're still recording here live from the cruise ship, or we're currently sailing between the Bahamas and on our heading back towards U.S. mainland, heading towards Florida. So another day on the ship, and then on Friday we'll be disembarking and heading back, making our way back home. We do have some NHL news to discuss tonight. We have an NHL trade to discuss. We have a signing, a suspension, as well as some injury updates to take a quick look at. Let's start with the NHL trade. And just to clarify and be clear here, some people think that trades can't take place once the deadline passes, and that's certainly not the case. NHL trades can happen anytime unless there's a roster freeze, which there is currently not. The only difference here after the trade deadline is that players traded after that are not eligible to be on their new team's playoff roster. So into the trade we see today, if this trade ends up in a team that can go into the playoffs, they cannot put this player on their playoff roster. Otherwise, they can feel free to make deals here as they see fit. But the trade involves the St. Louis Blues and the Nashville Predators. We have Anthony Deangelo is the player that's been dealt. He goes from St. Louis to Nashville for future considerations. Now, Angelo's a 27-year-old player, had been playing in the American Hockey League this year, but he does have a decent amount of NHL experience. He's appeared in over 31 NHL games, only putting up 5 points. He was a 2014 pick of the Penguins. He's been in the Penguins organization up until this season. This is his first year away from the Penguins organization. They opted not to bring him back. So he's 27 years old, has appeared in numerous seasons for the Pens between the NHL and AHL. Played a couple of college seasons at Cornell after being drafted before turning pro, and just has not really had a great deal of success and consistency to get things going. So this year he's appeared in 45 American Hockey League games and put up only 11 points. So certainly St. Louis didn't feel that it was in their best interest to keep him around with their AHL team in Springfield, and he gets traded off to the Preds to see if he can get a fresh start and at least be helpful and impactful at the American Hockey League level. But the potential for NHL, I mean, the Preds did sell off some decent amount of players and assets there at the deadline, so perhaps they will give him a crack here at the NHL. I'm not sure what the plan is, but that is the trade. So again, just to clarify, trades can still happen. It just means that Deangelo cannot play for the Predators in the playoffs should they make it. And I know the odds right now are probably against them for making it, but if it did happen, that's the only thing that's preventing that. So we also have a suspension tonight. Flyers defenseman Tony Deangelo has been suspended for 2 games for an incident that took place against the Tampa Bay Lightning. He really had the whole Lightning team in rage, but essentially he speared Corey Perry in the male private area. He took him down. It was certainly looked to be quite deliberate. There was a bit of a scrum going on, but yeah, Tony Deangelo's actions were dirty and deliberate for sure. Bit of a history, so he gets 2 games. The whole Lightning team started to gang up and beat on him afterwards, and he certainly was not making himself any friends there. So the NHL Player Safety did announce earlier tonight that he's been given a 2-game ban. So Deangelo will be sitting out and losing some money on that one. Pretty decent signing in Columbus. They've come to terms with one of their top prospects and defenseman, Carson Coolmans. He was U.S. Playing in U.S. college hockey, which is why he hadn't signed previously. Otherwise, he would have got his ELC much sooner. But players playing in the college system can't sign their entry-level deals until they're done in college hockey and are turning pro. But he was a 2021 first-round pick, 25th overall defenseman with a real, high probability of making the NHL and, being a good impact player. He was a real good-looking prospect, at least at that point in time. Played 2 years at the University of Wisconsin. And of course, we know just announced that they were letting go of head coach Tony Granato, of course, brother of Sabres coach Don Granato. So obviously he's played under his tutelage for the past couple of seasons. Like I said, he looks like he has a lot of potential, and a good signing for Columbus to get him turning pro and into their system. Some other injuries to keep in mind here as well. Sens goalie Cam Talbot, who was supposed to play in Chicago yesterday, ended up pulling out of the game not too long before game time, and now they're saying it's an oblique strain, and it's going to be out for about 3 weeks. Talbot has had a heck of a time staying healthy for the Sens this year. They had to emergency recall Kevin Mandolese, so Matt Sogard had to play yesterday unexpectedly at the last minute, and you could tell that the Sens were off their game from the get-go, getting throttled 5-0 by the lowly Blackhawks, which they gamed them 2 points that they really should have had and should have won. But Chicago's giving them a hard time. It's one of those matchups that's hard to explain. It does happen sometimes, and it's kind of weird. But Sogard had to go in unexpectedly. They didn't even have Mandolizzi there at the beginning of the game. I believe he was late getting there because of the recall and the flight and everything that he to get to with the team. It was kind of a really odd scenario. But Talbot's out 3 weeks. A few more injury updates. We saw a couple of players leave games tonight, including Red Wings forward Robbie Fabry left the Wings game injured, so he might be out for a while. And Minnesota Wild's top offensive gun, Kirill Kaprizov, also left tonight's game due to injury as well. So there's certainly some concern on that front that he might be out for some time. And Penguins forward Ryan Poehling, who seemed to be getting himself into a little bit more of a rhythm and coached to good graces, has been injured again, and he's going to be actually going on LTIR. They had to do that in order to have enough space for a recall. So Poehling has had a tough time with injuries in the last few years as well, and he's hurt once again. We also had, actually, besides the signing in Columbus, there was also another signing in Vancouver. They've come to terms with defenseman Guillaume Brisebois on a 2-year contract extension. League minimum $750 both years. But the first year, year one, for which will be next season, is a 2-way deal still. He gets $750 at the NHL level, $375 at the American Hockey League level, which is a really good income for that level of hockey. And then in year 2 of the contract, which will be in 2 seasons from now, it is a 1-way contract. So Brisebois will basically be looking to make himself to be a lock, hopefully on the Canucks roster at that point, earning that contract. So those are your signings, your injury updates, your suspension, and the small trade for today. So as I mentioned here before, of course, we'll do our best to keep things updated with the channel. Obviously, while being away, I've seen some comments yesterday saying, why don't you just take some time? It's like, you know what, if I don't report on the news, then the news becomes irrelevant, and I've always operated this way. For me to take a small percentage of my day just to do a quick video and update the news to keep the channel with fresh content is something I've always done. It's really not a big deal. I still have 95% of my day to be on vacation, have fun, and have some family time. So don't worry about that. For those that have been commenting and asking about it, it's really not a big deal. But like I said, another full day in a bit on the ship, back to U.S. land on Friday, and then from there we won't be actually home to where we live in Canada for a couple more days into probably later on Sunday, I believe it is. So we'll still be having a few more videos from the road. You may see another video from Florida and possibly another video from the road after that, probably in Boston, because we're in Boston for a night before making the rest of the way home. So stay tuned for that, and we'll keep everything up to date here. So thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. There will be fresh content on the channel daily moving forward to keep you up to date with all the news from around the entire league. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.